To keep or not to keep?
Hey guys, I'm Justin.
I'm Leigh.
Together we own Horrorland Media, and it is time for a brand new episode of To Keep or Not to Keep. This is a series, of course, where we go over, talk about, give a little review, and make the tough decision whether to keep or not to keep all of the movies we've watched over the past 2 weeks. We've got 25 titles to go over this time. Leigh has got a lot that she watched with me. There's also a small stack here that I kind of watched alone. So let's run through these. We'll end the episode with a little bit of a channel update as we have a lot of things coming up. So let's quit yakking and get right into these reviews.
Alright, so first up we have The Crow Salvation. It is, I was actually pleasantly surprised. We've seen some of the other Crow, like, I don't know,
adaptations,
yeah,
sequels,
and
I guess.
have not been impressed at all. Even the new one that came out, we were definitely not fans of. But this one, actually, with Kirsten Dunst, it was actually really good. Definitely kind of tried to follow somewhat the story of the original, but had a little different take on it. And, you know, his name was not Eric in this one. It was Alex, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyways, but it was still a very good adaptation to the original. And it was actually very well played.
Yeah. This one, yeah, like I said, this is actually the third one in the series. I actually like this one more than the second one, which is City of Angels. And this is, of course, leaps and bounds better of the Edward Furlong Crows. But story of it is basically Kirsten Dunst's sister is dating the guy who would become the Crow. She is killed, and he is framed for her murder. And so, of course, they put him in the electric chair, they kill him, and then he has to basically come back and piece together and kind of find out who killed her. This one, to me, has a much bigger mystery aspect than the other, which I think we both really enjoyed. But yeah, Scream Factory exclusive. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good.
You actually don't put it all together until towards the end.
No, you really don't. It does a good job because Leigh guessed one person. I didn't even try to guess. But Leigh did guess who she thought it was, and we thought she was right until the very end, and then you find out, well, damn, she was wrong. So,
yeah.
But yeah, actually really good. I mean, for me, vote to keep.
Yep, agreed.
Okay.
Alright, next we have a Shudder original called Hunted. So, this one, he originally watched without me while I was gone. And I was like, man, you watched that without me. I wanted to see that one. So, we put it back in this week. And, honestly, was it a good movie? No, not really. But I had my interest piqued. And even though I watched the whole thing, he got up and did other things. He really definitely was not into it. It was definitely weird. And slow, and I don't even know how else really to describe it. Disturbing might be a good, definitely more like a cat and mouse thing. So yeah, it was very, very odd. And basically these two guys in a bar pick out this girl that they want to harass, and one of them ends up trying to make out with her to get her into the car, which he achieves that goal, but then really doesn't want anything to do with her. So they take off with her in the car, and she at first thinks they're just going somewhere else to have a drink, and then it gets more weird, and she keeps asking them to let her out of the car, which they eventually do. But the weird part is they know that there's like this gas station or whatever down the road, and that's obviously where she goes to make a phone call, and so they go back there where they know she's going. So the whole thing is just very it's like that the whole time. It's very cat and mouse, and so it's just strange.
Yep, there you go. I mean, I can handle one or the other. I can handle strange movies and I can handle slow movies, but I can't handle strange slow movies. This one was extremely slow. It took a while to get going. Towards the end, there's some okay action parts, but for me, I did not enjoy it. So, for me, I would vote to sell.
Agreed.
Okay, well, there you go.
Not going to be watching it again.
Next up, we'll do one I watched by myself. This is Kill Bill Volume 2. Leigh hates the Kill Bill films, so I watched Volume 2 on my own. I have to say, after rewatching this, I thought I enjoyed Kill Bill Volume 2 a little bit more than I did on the initial rewatch. This one is leaps and bounds a step down, in my opinion, of Part 1. It is extremely hard to beat that scene with the whatever it is, that little league that she fights in the first one. It's extremely hard to beat that scene, especially in 4K, all the blood flying, and then you've got her fighting the main villain at the end in that white dress in the snow. It's absolutely amazing. This one, however, it's still a good movie, but I did not enjoy it anywhere near as much as I did the first one. But I do still enjoy it. This is actually diving in a little bit more into hers and Bill's relationship and kind of how Bill came to be the father. There is a child involved now. So it kind of deals a little bit more with that, and just, again, more of her redemption and more of her revenge. Overall, still a good film. I just didn't enjoy it as much as I remembered enjoying it, and definitely not as much as Part 1, but still going to be a vote to keep for me.
You didn't ask me on that one because you know my opinion.
Yeah.
All right, next was, I don't know how to say his name.
M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, Knock at the Cabin. So, I had put off watching this one because I thought it was really going to be disturbing for me. And it was a little bit, but not as bad as I thought. It's actually a really good movie, and it actually very much surprised me. I don't know. I don't feel like the previews, I think it did a good job showing that this was going to be a very suspenseful movie, but I don't think it did a good job of telling what the movie was about.
No, the previews make you think it's more of a home invasion film than it actually is. And
right.
It is a home invasion film, but Leigh is 100% out on those. But this one is not at all what you would think it would be.
No.
Which is kind of the thing with them not Shyamalan movies to begin with.
Yeah. So, very much, these four strangers end up being in the cabin that they're staying at as a vacation type place. It ends up being, a family, but it is two males that are married with a little girl. And the premise is really, without giving too much away, I don't know how to describe it without giving away the whole.
Basically, these four.
Kind of based on like a doomsday,
The four strangers have had visions of things that are going to happen to the world.
Yeah. And
they basically go in and give this family an ultimatum. And basically they put the fate of the world in their hands. Now I think that's a pretty good way to kind of sum it up.
Yeah.
M. Night Shyamalan gets a bad rap sometimes from a lot of people. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of his movies, but I did enjoy this one. It's definitely thought-provoking. If you were given an ultimatum like they were, what would you do? Could you make that decision? Basically, all of humanity rests in your hands. It's very thought-provoking, and you wouldn't think that you would get that out of a horror film like this, but you do. I actually really enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would.
Yeah,
so,
agreed.
For me, definitely a vote to keep on that one.
Agreed. All right. So next we have one by the same director,
M. Night Shyamalan.
Old. So, again, we've put watching this off because we've seen some bad reviews and that it's super slow. And to be fair, in some parts it is slow. But basically, this family that has, the mom and dad are having issues, and the mom has had some type of medical diagnosis, which you don't find out what it is till later in the movie. But they're taking this last vacation, and they get to this beautiful resort, and of course they offer them cocktails when they get there, and everything is beautiful. It's a tropical place, and they're looking at things to do, like excursions, and the son wants to, I think, rent jet skis or something, and the daughter doesn't want to do that. And so the hotel manager suggests that they go to this secluded beach for the day. And so they agree that that would be fun. So right before they take off in the hotel van, they're going to be driven there and dropped off and picked up at 5 o'clock. another family gets in with them. They think they're going to have this beach to themselves. So they get there, they make the best of it. They set up their chairs and stuff a little bit apart from each other. And one of the dads picks up the basket of food that the hotel had packed for them for the day. And he's like, this is a lot of food. And he was like, yeah, kids eat a lot. Well, lo and behold, they get there and everyone basically starts aging, which is why it's called old. So you have to watch the film to figure out the rest, but it's definitely disturbing for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they say like one day is equivalent of like 20 years.
Yeah.
So I mean they're aging at a very rapid pace. But yeah, again, M. Night Shyamalan, again, another thought-provoking film. It kind of raises the question, no one is promised tomorrow, and your time on this earth is not always as long as what you might think it is. So what would you do? What kind of choices, what kind of decisions would you make if you knew the end was near, kind of deal. So another thought-provoking film. You wouldn't think that this would kind of have those underlying tones, but I really think that he does a good job in placing those in. Another one that, I didn't, after seeing some of those reviews, I was like, I could care less if we ever watched that or not, but we were knocking some stuff out, and we put this one in. I fully expected this to fall under the category of our 30-minute rule, but it didn't. I actually really enjoyed it. So for me, old, vote to keep.
Agreed. And I would definitely say it's more of a thriller, not a horror.
I would agree, yeah. So next up, another one I watched alone. This is a double feature. This is Killer Crocodile and Killer Crocodile 2 here from Severin. I have put these in before and Leigh tried to watch them. I do have to say these probably have the absolute worst dub I've ever seen in my life. That is not done by Severin. It's just the dub that they were made with. These are actually, I'm not sure if they're Italian or I'm not sure exactly where these originate from. But anyways, basically, it's the exact same premise of like alligator and stuff like that. These alligators are in the swamps, and basically this guy is dumping toxic waste in there, and it makes them grow into unbelievable size and strength, and they start killing all the humans. The premise of this is pretty much the exact same as alligator. In the States. That is actually, I enjoy both of those. I didn't hate these movies. The alligator actually looks awesome in these. But for me, the dub was honestly so bad, and considering alligator for me is pretty much the same movie that I like more, I'm going to vote to sell these, just because I'm probably never going to watch them again. And it's just one of those things, again, with the room and the space on the shelves getting the way it is, I don't need something with bad dubs I'll never watch. So for me, vote to sell.
All right, so next up we have one called Twice Dead, and I'm going to be honest, I don't remember all about this.
Yeah, so Twice Dead was this guy, he hung himself in the house, and basically years later his relatives wind up inheriting the house, and there are these bullies that are kind of drawn to this house. And they start bullying the teenage son, and there is a love interest with the teenage daughter. And basically, the ghost comes back, and he's using his ghostly powers, I guess we'll say, to, like, whenever they kidnap the girl at one point, and he kind of like, he tries to hang the son, but he's hanging him to wake him up so that he can go get. So it's kind of all about that. The ghost kind of winds up interfering in the bullying and all that. It was a Scream Factory exclusive, decided what the heck, pick it up during their buy two, get one. I mean, I thought it was fine for what it was. I didn't think it was bad at all. So it says one of the best film flicks of 88. So I guess 1988 is the release year for that. I mean, it was fine. I'm sure putting it up, if we did like an 88 retrospective of movies released that year, this would probably rank pretty low on that. But if you look at it as just a standalone film, I enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
So that one I'm vote to keep.
Okay. Alright, so we watched a movie called Novocaine. So I really didn't know what this one was about when it started. And I think we had watched a preview at some point, but we watched so many I did not remember it. So actually I thought this one was really good. So it's about this guy that actually he can't feel like hot or cold, or like if he hurts himself, he can't feel it. So he is an assistant manager at a bank, and he has been watching this girl that works there for several months, and he's just crazy about her, but he doesn't want to let on that he is. And she finally asks him to lunch, and so he goes to lunch with her, and he orders a milkshake but won't order any food. So she really starts pushing him to try a bite of her cherry pie, and he's like, I can't. He finally just tells her he can't, and he tells her that he can't feel. So like if he were to take a bite of something and he bites off his tongue, he wouldn't know it. So oddly enough, he's just madly in love with her, and they end up getting robbed. Like, I think it's the next day or after that, if that was a weekend, like that following Monday or whatever. And so they actually kill the bank manager, and so they need the code to the safe, right? So he's the only other one that knows it. So long story short, it's about a bank robbery / him trying to get revenge, but he keeps getting beat up and he can't feel it. So, and there's some pretty graphic shots in there of like how he gets hurt. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a really good movie, and it had a lot of comedy to it, even though I don't know that they were really trying to be funny, but it was. So
yeah, I agree. I mean, she pretty much hit the nail right on the head. I mean, it was definitely a comedy action, really good. I didn't know what to expect either. I didn't intend on buying this one until a guy that buys all of my digital codes asked me if I was going to get it, and we watched the trailer, and I was like, I'll get it. It's worth the $25 or whatever. 20 after he bought the code, so I was like, yeah, we'll get it, whatever. And we actually both wound up enjoying it, so I guess it was a win for both of us. Vote to keep from me.
Okay.
Alright, next up here for me is The Island. This is from Treasured Films. I'd never seen this before. This does have a American release, I think from Screen Factory, but when this one came out, the edition and everything, I was like, oh cool, I'll grab it. I did not enjoy this one though at all. It's extremely slow. Basically, you have this father. He is into all of these news stories and things that he has heard, and he winds up taking his son on a trip, and his son thinks that he's going to get to spend some quality time with his dad, but really his dad is taking him for ulterior motives. And they go to this island, and the island is wind up being basically has these pirates on it, for lack of a better term. I thought this, based off like the cover, again, if you look at that one, I thought this was more of like a straight up horror movie than it is. It's really not. It was an extremely slow burn, and for me, just not one that I ever see myself rewatching. So The Island, for me, vote to sell.
Look at you. Okay, next up we have Nameless. I mean, it's basically just your typical slasher.
Yeah, and not a good one either. Nameless was basically this guy had a gas station. The gas station is blown up. He is caught in the fire, and it kind of takes his identity. And so basically he winds up becoming nameless, and he kills these people within the mountains and the hills. This is from Plan 10 Pictures, and I like some of their stuff, and some of their stuff I don't. It's honestly a gamble whenever I get their stuff. The trailer for this one looked like it was going to be pretty good. But I was wrong. It was 64 minutes long, and I think we honestly skipped 2 or 3 chapters, and I don't think we missed a single thing. The gore in it was pretty decent. Some of it was CGI gore, but the stuff that wasn't CGI was pretty good. But overall, not one that I ever see myself rewatching. No need to add it to the shelf. Vote to sell.
Agreed. So next we have A Working Man with Jason Statham. I mean, it's your typical run-of-the-mill Jason Statham movie. I mean, it's all action, revenge. Basically, the people that he works for at a construction site, their daughter gets kidnapped, and he was close to her and told her he would always have her back, and he struggles with whether or not to go after them, even though the parents asked for him to, because he is in some type of custody battle for his own child. Apparently his wife died at some point, and the bride's father has custody, pretty much sole custody, I think, based on what we saw. And he's trying to get more time with his daughter, and the father-in-law does not want to give him that. So he's trying not to do anything to disrupt that. And then he decides that, you know, he had promised, I think the girl's name was Jenny, that he would always have her back. So he ends up getting involved and trying to get revenge. So,
I mean, yeah, typical Jason Statham, but to me, this one wasn't as good as the typical Jason Statham. The people raved about this one out of the theaters. I thought it was just okay, but I would still vote to keep it. It was decent for what it was, decent action flick. So,
okay.
All right, keep. All right, next up for me is a DVD of Shriek. I've had this on the shelf for a pretty good while, and I just never watched it. Finally checked it out. There are certain ones in the stack that like Lee's never seen that I'm like, damn, I really wish I had waited for her. This is one of those. However, she might have found it too stupid. But Shriek basically is a horror parody of everything at the time. So when this came out, this parodied Scream. It parodies Nightmare on Elm Street. It parodies Friday the 13th. I Know What You Did Last Summer. It lumps basically every horror film that had ever made anything at the box office into this one film. It's got Tom Arnold in it. It's just stupid as stupid gets. There's basically a killer going around killing people basically just like Scream. Scream is the biggest parody for this, but like I said, it does sprinkle in a little bit of every other movie there, but Scream is the main one. Overall though, it got several chuckles out of me. It was pretty fun for what it was. Will I ever watch this one again? I don't know, but for now we're going to vote to keep and add it to the shelf. It was decent for what it was.
Alright, next up we have Super Mario Brothers. I think Umbrella released this one from the 90s. I'll be honest, at first when we turned this on, I wasn't really that into it. But it was actually pretty comical the more that you watched and you saw, you know, the relations they made to the actual game. You know, like you would see, you know, the mushrooms and the, you know, all the little things that you think of from the original Super Mario Brothers game. Well, they're somewhere buried in here. So, it was pretty fun, and it was, I don't know, it was very neat how they, I guess, made the set or whatever, totally different from, you know, the times they were living in, and they actually did a really good job with that. So,
yeah, basically dinosaurs and humans, they live in two alternate dimensions, and you have, well, what's dude's name? Dennis Hopper. He is basically the main bad guy, and he basically is trying to make dinosaur Earth and human Earth occupy the same space so that the dinosaurs can take over. It's like we said, stupid, it's slapstick, but this one, just the music, the look of the movie, everything about it, it screams 90s, and I love it. So for me, definitely a vote to keep.
okay.
I think that would honestly be one Ava would probably enjoy.
Yeah, if we could get her to start it, I think she would like it. Yeah.
All right.
Alright, so next up we have Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. You know, it's from that Poohniverse thing, and like, I loved the Pooh movies, but I'm gonna be honest, I did not care for this one. For a lot of different reasons, but I don't know, it definitely was not, I didn't like the trailer, I didn't really expect to like it, but sometimes I'm surprised. I stand by the fact that I did not like this one.
I'm torn on this one. I enjoyed it a lot more than Lee. I will say this though, they allude to a lot of things. I've never read the Peter Pan, like the actual novelization from whenever before it was a Disney film. So I don't know how close to home this kind of hits. I don't know how true to that they stayed, but it does allude to basically Peter Pan being abused as a child and basically growing up and stealing these. He basically steals all young boys, and it, in a sense, it never comes right out and says it. It never shows anything whatsoever. Just kind of some of the dialogue and the way that he acts, it alludes to basically him being a child molester. And that in and of itself took me way out of the film. But basically he kidnaps this boy, and Wendy has to go and save him because it's her brother, and the brutality that ensues. It's one of the most brutal movies I've seen in a pretty good while. The gore in it is really, really good. Overall, my vote for this one's going to be a vote to keep, only because I want to see as we grow the Pooniverse, as they call it, I want to see if maybe it's going to be an integral part and how it's going to tie in. But in all honesty, this may be one that if it doesn't wind up tying in the next few films, it'll probably go, because I don't like that child molestation kind of theme it has. I feel like if they had have found a way to like leave that out, this movie would have been fantastic. But with that in there, it really took some hits off. So it is what it is. For me, I'm going to vote to keep it for now, just because I do intend to watch the entire Pooniverse as they release them. And we'll kind of see how this one ties in. But like I said, if it doesn't tie in, it's probably going to get kicked. But we'll keep it for now. Next up for me, I did go ahead and watch Big Trouble in Little China. Leigh and me have watched this previously. But Carl, I bought this in Nashville back earlier this year just because I didn't own it. Carl actually bought a big print of it in Indianapolis for Days of the Dead. And it just made me want to rewatch it again, so I had it on the shelf. So I was like, well, me and Leigh have already seen it. I'll knock it out. If you've never seen Big Trouble in Little China, basically you have Kurt Russell's character. He drives the Pork Chop Express, the big 18-wheeler. He's a hustler. He's always up for a game of anything that he can do to hustle and make money. He winds up making money off of his friend in Chinatown, and he basically says, look, I don't have the money to pay you right now, but if you'll drive me to the airport to pick up my fiance coming in from China, then I'll get you the money and we'll get you paid. And while at the airport, she is basically kidnapped because she has green eyes, and there is this mythical guy. And basically, he, in order to keep on living and everything else, he has to find a girl with green eyes to marry him and love him. There's all kinds of like creatures that he kind of keeps in the basement, and so really there's just one creature that he keeps in the basement. But this is very, they shoot lightning out of their fingers, and it's very stupid, but at the same time, it's such a good movie. If you've never seen Big Trouble in Little China, definitely check it out. For me, vote to keep.
Next up, we have Night Swim. I'm gonna be honest, our oldest daughter, I think, had gone to the theater and saw this, and she said it wasn't very good. Basically, you have this family. I believe the dad was a professional baseball player, and he's somehow become injured and has a cane, and at times has to use a wheelchair. And they keep telling him that he needs therapy, and he agrees to that, but he feels like he's going to play baseball again. They basically tell him that that's not going to happen. So they decide to settle down and put down some roots, because he's been to several different states and cities based on his career and being swapped to different leagues. And they look at a townhouse and they really like it. It's really upscale, and then they look at an older home that is vacant and has a pool in the backyard. And long story short, he thinks that water therapy would be good for him. He's ready to settle down, so they end up buying the house. Well, when they originally move in, they basically drain the pool. They're going to clean it up. And he ends up getting hurt, sticking his hand down the drain for whatever reason, I guess to clean out, make sure there's no leaves or anything down there. Well, they have somebody come out and look at everything, and they tell them they have natural spring water or whatever. It's like healing water, supposedly. So he's like, great, I'm going to heal and getting it better. So he swims twice a day in the water, does his other therapies, and there's definitely something dark in the water, and you see that in the very opening of the movie. And we watched it, I think, about 40 minutes and turned it off. Like, it really didn't go anywhere. It just wasn't honestly very good.
No, I mean, 30-minute rule. To kind of reiterate, if you're new to the series here, we put movies in, we give it a 30-minute time limit. If it hasn't caught our attention, if we're not interested in it, we do take it out. We let this one go a little over. We were trying to see if it got any better, but it's an hour and 40-minute movie total, and we watched 40 minutes of it, and really nothing had happened. It was very slow. And yeah, I mean, it just wasn't anything that we thought was going to be worth investing another hour in to keep watching. So that one definitely vote to sell.
Agreed. Whoops. Okay. All right. Next up, we have Dracula. I think
we watched this one about 10 minutes from the 1979 with Donald Pleasance, and I think I gave this one like 15 minutes. we didn't give it very long at all to really. It's a period piece, much like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, anything like that. And this one may have gotten better as it went along. I honestly don't know. I bought some stuff from Eric, and this was one of the ones that I bought. So I added it to my shelf. I was like, I want to check it out before I sell it. But it was a little, just the period piece, the clothes they were wearing, the dialogue was really slow. Like the first 10 minutes, I, was pretty bored, skipped like 3 or 4 chapters, and it looked like pretty much the same thing was going on as before I had skipped. So just wasn't anything that that I think is going to be anything worth me personally adding to the shelf. So for me, vote to sell. Alright, we'll go ahead and do this. This will be kind of a big one, so I'll run through these as quickly as I can. But next up for me is the Shoestring Slashers box set from TerrorVision. So this has 3 films in it, so I'll go ahead and run through all 3. In a box set like this, it is very rare that you're ever going to like all 3 films in it. That's just the way it is. So we'll go ahead and start with the one that I didn't like. Kind of alludes to the next 2, but that is Phantom Brother. So basically there's a car crash and it kills this boy, and then years later his brother takes all of his teenage friends to this house. They're going to party and do all the things that teenagers do, and basically the brother comes back and kills them all. This one looks really, really bad. I think this is also the oldest movie out of the box set, as it was filmed in 1988. So this was definitely filmed on a VHS camcorder. This one for me just didn't hit. There's a whole dynamic with a family that they kind of try to make backwoods and almost Texas Chainsaw esque. The gore and stuff in this one's fine for what it is, but for me this was just not one that I was interested in. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is also 92 minutes. This could have easily been a 70-minute movie. It makes it, it just kind of drug in a couple spots. So I did not care for this one. However, it's a box set, so we can't judge just based off that. So we did have Beware. Beware I loved. I thought Beware was really, really good. This one is another shot on video. 2001. It's 80 minutes. Basically, it tells the story. There is this dad. He's drinking at a bar, and one night he overhears and gets told this story that his wife has had an affair and that his son is not his. His son is actually illegitimate. So he goes home, but instead of killing the wife and killing the child, he takes the child and he chains him up outside, and basically his cries is his mother's punishment, as she has to hear the cries of the child every single night over and over and over. Why she doesn't go in the woods and look for him, I don't know. That part doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But regardless, we see years later he comes back. He's got a sack over his head. He's got the extremely long hair. He's in overalls and a plaid shirt. Just backwoods hillbilly kind of stuff. The gore effects in this one are good. The acting's subpar. Again, it's a shot on video, but the acting's fine for what it is. I really enjoyed Beware though. Definitely one worth checking out. And then Lee actually did watch some of this one with me. It's Basement Jack. Another one, really enjoyed. This one clearly had the highest budget out of all of these in the thing. It had the best acting. This is from 2009. And it does actually have Tiffany Shepis in it as well. So she, went on to do several other things. But Basement Jack basically tells the story. This boy was abused by his mother. Anytime he would get in trouble, she would take a light bulb and stick it in his mouth and flick the switch and basically electrocute him. But a light bulb doesn't have enough to kill him. But she would do that. She would beat him. Just all kinds of terrible stuff. And so he grows up and basically he kills families and he poses them, and he kills this one family, but he doesn't get to kill the daughter. And years later she comes back to the town of which the murders happened, and the murders start happening all over again, and she thinks that Jack is basically following her. He was caught by the police, but he was put in an insane asylum, tried as a juvenile because he wasn't old enough. He was only given 5 years in an institution. So he gets out and immediately starts killing again. And it's just about that. She tries to help the police, but the police kind of keep, locking her up. They're like, well, you're a civilian. We can't have your help. Really enjoyed this one. Some great gore, some great effects in this one. So for me, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Again, a box set like this, it's rare. I don't know that I own a single box set that I like all 3 films in. The Homegrown Horror from Vinegar Syndrome's the same way. it's just rare. You're talking about a box that people think you're going to like everything in, and just 9 times out of 10 you're not going to. But like I said, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Love that all 3 of these are slipped by themselves. Love that they all 3 got individual releases. Love the artwork on the box. For me, TerraVision can do no wrong at this point in time. They are doing phenomenal releases. Definitely going to be in my top for releases of the year, or release company of the year, I should say. So for me, no questions asked, vote to keep.
Next is A Hard Place. This was an independent film we picked up from...
Indianapolis is where I got it. I don't know the guy's name or their company name, actually, but they're the same people who did Craving that we picked up in Atlanta earlier this year.
Okay. So, I don't know. This one was definitely a little more out there as far as... but it was still overall a good movie. So, basically, you have these... what do they call them? Grangers?
Guardians?
Guardians?
I don't know. We watched so much, I don't know.
Basically, there was people that come out at night, and then the people that protect the day. And long story short, they are waiting for this kind of eclipse, I guess, for it to be dark, and they can fight amongst themselves and try to wipe out the others. And I don't know. But there's
group of criminals kind of gets caught in the crossfire in it, kind of.
Yeah. It's got Felissa Rose in it. She does a very good job. Probably one of the pieces I've seen from her that shows her getting more into character than she's had to in others. But this is probably, honestly, one of the longest pieces I've seen her in. So, I thought she did a very good job.
I did too, yeah. I mean, I really enjoyed the movie for what it was. Some of the stuff, of course, effects were CGI. I didn't care for those so much. But making movies of our own, we understand budgetary restrictions and sometimes the need for those. I can't personally do those, so we don't have them. But it's only because I don't know how to do them. But budgetary restrictions, I think, definitely hit this movie in a couple of places. But it looks great, sounds great. The acting is actually good, even though they used a lot of low-budget people that I'd never seen before. A lot of independent, I guess I should say, for a low-budget film. Overall, though, I enjoyed it, and definitely going to be a vote to keep.
Yep. Alright, so The Pope's Exorcist has Russell Crowe in it. This was another one that we put in and gave it, I don't even know if we gave it 30 minutes.
Probably more like 20.
But we did not enjoy it. A lot of it is because it's not spoken in English, and...
Not all of it.
And we don't really like reading subtitles at the bottom of the screen, so that's a big turn off from the get-go. And then, I don't know, we just didn't really get into it. It's all I know to say.
Yeah, no, an exorcism takes place years prior. He winds up exorcising the, I guess, demon or whoever out of a human into a pig, and they wind up killing the pig. They think that they've gotten rid of the demon forever. Russell Crowe winds up kind of coming under scrutiny for having done this. And all these years, this family has inherited this home, and they basically go over to England or wherever this is taking place. It wouldn't be England, I guess it'd be Rome or wherever. And they're fixing up on this castle. Basically, her husband has passed. He's left them basically penniless except for this castle because he was the one making the income. And basically, their son winds up getting possessed. And that's pretty much where we turned it off. There is some English. Of course, the family that moves over there from America speaks English. Russell Crowe does speak some as well. But there was a ton, even in the 20 minutes that we watched this, a ton of subtitles. And I hate reading movies. I'm not going to read my movie. That is why I don't do any more foreign stuff than we do. That's honestly why it's taken us so long to get the extreme films out from overseas, just because it really takes me a while to watch those just because it has subtitles. And for me, this one may have wound up being really, really good in the end, but I didn't like it on the forefront. It didn't really keep my attention. Possession movies are not my favorite genre anyways, so for me, just gonna be a vote to sell.
Next we have Undead. I don't think we really watched all of this one.
Undead was the meteor, Australian. So it's an Australian film. Yeah, these meteors come down, and basically when they hit you, they turn you into zombies. I don't know if this one was meant to be funny, but it definitely had some slapstick stuff just in the, I think we watched 10 minutes. And this one, just for me, I don't know. I don't know if I went in the right mood. I don't know, but I hated this one. Just the 10 minutes that we watched, I was like, I don't see this being anything I care to watch or keep. Just not good overall. I didn't care for it.
It says it's packed with action, loaded with laughs, and filled with wild twists and turns.
Yeah, well, I didn't get any of that.
Aussie cult classic.
Well, Australians are different then if they consider this a cult classic. But overall, I mean, it may have gotten better, but we were just kind of, honestly, we watched all 4 of these. We watched Night Swim, then we put in Dracula, then we put in Pope's Exorcist, and then we put in Undead. So we had kind of already watched a few sucky movies, before, at least giving them that 30-minute rule. So by the time we got to this one, maybe I just wasn't in the right mindset, and then maybe it being Australian and the kind of slapstick stuff, maybe I didn't understand the humor. I don't know. But for me, I didn't like this one, vote to sell.
All right. Dirty Work. I mean, it's basically a comedy. Like, I mean, I don't know what's on the...
It's good, yeah. It's fish.
Oh, yeah. It's got a...
Well, you can show the front. It's just
Yeah.
fish. It's just 2 fish. There you go. Dirty Work, Norm Macdonald. Basically, this has cameos from anybody who is anybody from the time. Norm, around this time, I don't know if he was still on Saturday Night Live or not, but you had a ton of Saturday Night Live cameos. You had Adam Sandler, you had Chevy Chase, you had Chris Farley. I mean, pretty much anyone who was anybody at this time had a cameo in this film. But basically, it's just Norm Macdonald's character. He's tired of being pushed around. He's tired of being stepped on. And him and his best friend have always kind of pranked people and gotten the most enjoyment out of that. And so they decide to make a career out of it. The only thing is... and the reason they decided to make a career out of it is Norm's best friend, his father winds up having a heart attack and needs a transplant. And Chevy Chase, who plays the doctor, is like, I can give you a transplant if you can get me $50,000 by the end of the week. And so they're trying to scrounge up all this money. They're trying to do these things. And basically they get screwed over. This guy tells them, he's like, if you'll go ruin this apartment complex, I'll give you the money. So they go and they ruin it and they do the job that no one else wants to do, and they kick all these people out of their homes only to find out this guy swindled them. He did it so that he could wind up owning the building and condemn it for his own personal wants. But it's just kind of about the relations that they build and the pranks that they pull on people. I've always enjoyed this movie. I don't think Leigh enjoys it near as much as I did, but I thought it was funny. I've always liked it. For me, Dirty Work's going to be a vote to keep.
Okay. You can do that one.
And lastly is Eddie Murphy here with The Golden Child. So everybody raved over this film that I seen. A lot of people were really excited when Vinegar Syndrome decided to release this. I think this is a huge release for Vinegar Syndrome just because it has Eddie Murphy. We're actually getting some name value behind some of their releases that they're having. But for me, this one... I don't know. This was not a great movie, I didn't think. I thought it was fine. I mean, I thought it was fine, but I didn't think it...
It gave me Coming to America vibes. Like, I don't know.
I mean, basically there's this child, they call him the Golden Child, and there's this dagger. The Golden Child has kind of been kidnapped and by this guy who... he's a demon, but he looks like a guy. And basically he now has to find the dagger, and if he can kill this golden child with the dagger, it'll basically bring apart the end of the world. And so this woman winds up getting Eddie Murphy. She asks for his help, as he is that's kind of what he does. He finds lost children, and he doesn't believe in the whole like golden child, he doesn't believe that any of this is real or that it can actually happen. And it's just kind of about him basically having to go through and become a believer and the slapstick kind of shenanigans that they get in. This one doesn't have nearly the action that I thought it was going to have. It does have funny parts, but it's not nearly as funny as I thought it was going to be. And for me personally, the payoff kind of sucked because the ending, it's like you have this whole movie and they build up to it, and then the very end is like it's over in a split second. And I understand why it's over in a split second. We won't give away the ending, but we will say it's very CGI. And I think that they were trying not to have that in the film any longer than they had to. But it kind of brought it down a little bit for me. So for me, this is a big VSU. for me, for the time being, I will vote to keep this one. I didn't think it was a bad movie. I just didn't think it was as good as what some of the other reviewers here on YouTube that I saw, say that it was. But I mean, it wasn't bad by any means, I didn't think. But yeah, so for this one, vote to keep. That'll end the stacks. So, out of 25 titles, getting rid of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We will run back through those 8 as we usually do. That is Umbrella's release of The Undead, The Pope's Exorcist, 1979's Dracula with Donald Pleasance, Night Swim, Nameless, The Island, that is Region B, by the way, Killer Crocodile, Killer Crocodile 2 double feature, and Hunted. Getting rid of this one for a second time now. So all of those are horror though, so they will be available at Horrorland Media, the convention booth. So if you guys see us, definitely come out. You can grab those while available. To give a couple of channel updates, when again, at the time of filming this and at your time of watching, you do still have time to grab tickets and come out and see us at the Nashville Horror Con this weekend. That is at the Farm Bureau Expo Center in Lebanon, Tennessee. That is July the 12th and 13th. Great guest list for a smaller convention, even bigger vendor guest list. It's honestly the biggest vendor guest list we've been a part of for a while. This is not a dig on other vendors. I don't know who a lot of them are. I think they are a lot of kind of smaller vendors, like probably one booth, don't do a whole lot of shows kind of thing. That's not a dig. I don't want anyone to think that is. It's just I didn't know a lot of the names going through. But definitely come out, check out, see what they've got. I know there's a lot of authors. There's several t-shirt vendors and several like handmade pop culture kind of things. So definitely come out and see what they've got.
Art of Barcode will be there?
Yes, Art of Barcode will be there. Yes, they do have a booth as well, so shout out to them. They were a great couple of people that we met there in Nashville, so shout them out. Definitely go check out his artwork as well. As far as a channel update, though, I do want to take a second and go over that. So we do have Nashville this weekend. Before we get to Nashville, you will have a Welcome to Horrorland episode this Thursday coming out. It will be our Reanimator film franchise as we kind of go over and give our thoughts and opinions on that. But after that, we get home from Nashville. Conventions always exhaust us. Carl is going with us. We will have Mothershucker and Twisted Gables there. You can also pick those up online, horrorlandmedia.square.site if you want to pick them up online. But conventions always wear us out. We've got to come home, we've got to rest up, and we go into the cornfield the next weekend to film Mothershucker 2. So already here in Tennessee and Kentucky, it's already hitting like 100 degrees during the day. We've got a lot of stuff we've got to get ready to go. We've got to make sure that we've got batteries charged and fans to keep cast cool and coolers packed and everything that goes into filming a movie in the heat. I'm saying all this to say next week, if there is a Welcome to Horrorland, I don't even know if there will be or not, but it's probably just going to be a shelf collection. I may pull some stuff off and show it off in my collection just to kind of have a video out for you guys. But there's probably going to be several weeks like that upcoming as we get ready to edit said movie and try to get it ready for release in October. We also have another convention coming up here rather rapidly, which is Flashback Weekend in Chicago. Another great guest list, so come out and see us there as well. But again, I've told you guys before, if anything takes a back seat for us personally, it will be YouTube. And I hate to say it like that. YouTube is important to us, but that is what takes a back seat. And as we get ready to get extremely busy, I will try to upload videos as I can, but they may not be every week the way they were. Again, we're getting ready to get busy. Kids are getting ready to go back to school here in about a month. That'll make things busy. Just all the things that go with everyday life. So I'm not saying that we're leaving YouTube, because we're not. But I am saying stick with us over the next few weeks, because if there's videos, they're going to kind of be quick, generic videos. And there may be some weeks that there's no videos at all. We're just getting ready to get busy, and I'm hoping that it won't affect us too much here on YouTube, but it may. So just kind of as a channel announcement, a channel update, just so you guys are aware of what's going on. But like I said, we'll try to do as few interruptions as we can. But anyways, we do have that stack of films that we sold. We also have got all kinds of other movies available. So definitely come out, check us out at a convention. Come shop with us. Come see what all we offer. That is Horrorland Media. We try to post about the shows we're going to be on, so follow us on all the social medias down below where we'll be posting. Make sure that you do, if you're new to the channel here, subscribe. I know this is kind of a bad video to subscribe on, considering I just told you the content may be getting less, but in that time of the content getting less, you've got 35 episodes of Welcome to Horrorland to check out. So go check those out. Kind of backdate, time you get caught up, we'll have some new stuff for you. So check us out on the, like I said, the website down below there as well. That is horrorlandmedia.square.site, and we will catch you guys next time here on the Horrorland Media YouTube channel. We appreciate you all tuning in.
To keep or not to keep.